I spoke to a very interesting man last night who was talking about positive and negative energies. And when I watch the news and watch everything that's happening lately, I just think that there is actually a battle going on between good and evil. And I've never been religious. I got put off the Bible by the Old Testament. It seemed quite a cruel God to me when I went to Sunday school. And obviously, no one can really argue with the teachings of Jesus, can they? Be kind, help anyone out. I try and live my life like that without having a label on me. But religion, I've never had any time for. And the more I've looked into it, the more I dislike Islam intensely. Not Muslims, because I feel sorry for them, because they're absolutely indoctrinated from birth. They're in a doctrine where if they leave, they're practically sentenced to death in some countries. So the average Muslim probably doesn't even put a second thought on what the Quran actually says. But Islamists do, and they use it for control. And they're being assisted by governments. I don't know whether it's out of stupidity, fear, complicity. I don't know why it would be. But when you actually look at it, thinking that the perfect human being was a warlord who chopped heads off and killed loads of people who didn't agree with him, married a child, and that's just the start. That book really doesn't like Jews, Christians, gays, dogs. Between the Quran and the Hadiths, there's quite a lot of dark stuff there. Some of these countries where they stone women for being raped because they've allowed it. Women have to cover their hair. They don't make the men a bit amorous. It's misogynistic. It's horrible. And in 2026, there are people defending it. And there are people from groups who the Quran positively dislikes defending it. To me, that is a real high grade of stupidity. And I don't agree with anything. Anything that book has to say. And I think there should be more condemnation from people above. I mean, you've even got King Charles sucking up to them. And no, it's everywhere they've been, there's been carnage. And Islamists, to me, are evil, dark energy. But this video isn't just about Islam, it's about dark energy, full stop, a constant flow of bad news that I think's being done on purpose. And the mass gullible take a lot of it in. I mean, I look at Henry Novak, what a terrible case. The police, either inept or just plain evil. And I look at it and I think to myself, but why did that happen? But then I think, why was it so well covered by the news? Because I'm sure there's racial stabbings every single day that we never get to hear about. I know there is. But this involved a Sikh. Not a very nice Sikh, and not a very nice Sikh family. But on the whole, the Sikhs and white and black British get on quite well. They get along, worship. I don't even know, I've not even read the Sikh holy book, but they get on really well. The reason I've not read it is because I've never had any problems with them. Just nice people who don't fully integrate, let's be honest about it, but there's never any problem with them, is there? How many Sikh terror attacks have we had in this country? So I'm thinking to myself, why did that get... And I think it's to divide. And then you had these Sikhs who were just basically laughing about it on a podcast, was it? And that got in the public domain as well. And I just thought to myself, is it division? Are the police inept? Are they, as I say, evil? Are they recruiting people who are brainless, or people who are indoctrinated with Marxist, fascist views, because I keep seeing the police not doing their jobs, but becoming thought police, becoming something straight out of 1984. And when I hear people saying, oh, there's not two-tier policing, I just think, you imbecile. There was two-tier policing back in the 1980s. I saw it for myself. And now it's got far, far worse. And there's two-tier justice. And is it, this is what I'm thinking, to wind up people so much that they cause a civil war? 'Cause let's face it, Islam doesn't need any great catalyst to go to war for the Prophet Muhammad. And we've got certain elements in this country, genuine far right. There's not many of them, though, to be honest. Certainly not enough of them, I wouldn't imagine, to cope with an Islamic attack. So they'll bring other people, fringe people in, people who are just fed up with the rape of vulnerable white, black and Sikh girls who aren't Muslims. People are fed up. People are fed up with seeing homeless veterans, while people who just throw their documents, a lot of them career criminals, throw their documents away and get put up in five-star hotels. People have had enough. People are fed up with it. And I think there's a lot of those people who I talk to who would take up arms, unfortunately. Let's hope it never happens. But I think that's what the powers that be, I think that's what the government is anchoring for, is engineering. Because why else would you just let undocumented fighting age men into the country? A lot of those young guys are joining criminal gangs here. The police that I speak to off the record say they're losing the streets, their hands are tied, and they're working with a lot of people who don't like themselves and certainly don't like us. So it's dark every way you look at it. Yeah, we had the veteran pulled off the wall because he wasn't moving quick enough, pulled onto the floor by about 6 police, and you had one guy kicking him in the head, didn't you, and one punching him. That's where we are. That's where we are with the police. Now, if you're one-on-one with someone and he's got a knife in his hand, for instance, I can see as a police officer why your adrenaline would be running and why you would do anything in your power, use reasonable force, any force, to get that knife out of his hand and get him nicked. But 5 or 6 of you, he's down on the floor and you're kicking him or punching him. You're a coward. You're a bully, you're a cretin, you're a moron. Don't care if you've got a warrant card in your pocket or if you're some drunk mug outside a nightclub. You're a pathetic moron. And if that needs investigation, that shows you how far the police force has fallen. It can only be dark energy to divide people, to create two-tier justice and two-tier policing. It's got to be a battle, a spiritual battle, because if not, we're just producing evil morons, aren't we? Is there a God? Is there a devil? I don't think so. Personally, could be wrong, I don't know. But is there good and bad? Yes. Is there dark and light? I think so. And I think we're in a very dark time, and there's been loads of those times in the past. I think we're just coming up to one now. These powers that be, governments, they want total control. 15-minute cities, digital ID, cashless societies, everything controlled by them. And people are so gullible, they can't see it. It's dark times. And you don't know what to say to people, do you? When they say, because I can see a civil war. I can see people coming to the end of their tether, but I can also see it's what the government want. It's what they're engineering. Some of the things you see online where, there was one the other day, a white guy was arrested for being beaten up by some black guys. Now, I've got loads of black friends, loads of mates who would have stepped in and helped there. It shouldn't be a black and white thing, but it is. They're relying on tribalism, they're relying on splitting up groups who have been getting on quite well for ages, just because of skin colour. That's Nazi. Not people worried about young girls being raped. by people who are having their crimes covered up for whatever reasons, whether it's community cohesion. Personally, I think it's because where do they sell their films and all that sort of stuff? Probably to the white elites. Maybe even sell the girls to the white elites. There's a reason that the establishment doesn't want a full inquiry. Don't think we'd get one anyway. I think if they put Maggie Oliver in charge of one, she'd probably die in a mysterious climbing accident, even if she wasn't out climbing. And I don't think that'll ever happen, because I think there's royalty, I think there's police, I think there's MPs, I think there's a load, obviously mayors and councillors, loads of people complicit in it. So I think it goes a lot further than religion. It goes back to darkness again. Darkness and light. On social media, I class them as people, but they can't be. They've got to be bots. They've got to be bots placed there to create division. You know, because when you get, say, let's say, a migrant attack, gang rape on a victim, I saw it. You know, someone didn't say, oh, that was shocking. Oh, that's terrible. They said, well, white men rape too. What a response. No thoughts for the victim, no humanity, just division, making it about race. Now, I'll say here and now, I don't care if they're white, I don't care if they're illegal migrants, black, British citizens, white British citizens, what they are. If they rape, they should be chemically castrated. If they torture and rape, they should be hung. Because it's like a rabid dog. It's like a dog that's mad. You're not going to stop it biting people. These people must have no respect for their victims. No respect for... Now, I think the only difference is that obviously those white normal, not the elites, those white normal rapists, paedophiles generally get investigated. The police can investigate with the full backing of councillors, MPs, possibly prime ministers, royalty. They can be investigated, they can be imprisoned. But there's certain people in this country that can't. And that's what causes the friction. It's nothing about skin colour. It's not even about religion, although it appears from statements that it is to certain rapists. But what a response. That has got to be. Because I don't think anyone can have that IQ. I don't think someone's brain, if it does operate like that, they're psychopaths. And there they are on social media. Oh, but white men rape too. Most rapes in this country are committed by white men. Most crimes in this country are committed by white men. Well, because at the moment, white men are still in the majority, so that makes perfectly common sense. Sexual crime, though, 4 times more likely in the Pakistani community and against non-Pakistani females. Don't even get on to me about domestic abuse. I watched this coward the other night out in, I think it was Spain, supposedly a football supporter, supposedly a man. I don't care. He's not a man. He's a coward, a bully, and again, I'd stick him away for 10 years. If you've got so little respect for not just females, but that female in your life, wow. Now, I could have gone on, if I was a moron, like some of these people on social media, I could have gone on and said, because I've seen it firsthand, what about the Muslim community? Their women are mistreated behind closed doors. What the actual fuck? Does it matter? Does it matter what the skin colour is, the religion is? The fact is that there's a woman there and possibly kids getting put through hell. Where's the humanity in these people? I just don't get it. I just don't get it. I would protect a Muslim woman in the same way as I would protect a white woman if I saw them being beaten. I wasn't allowed to do that in the police. I wasn't allowed to be fair like that. But now, as a citizen, I'd probably get nicked, wouldn't I? Probably get nicked either way, protecting the Muslim woman because I've hurt the feelings of the Muslim batterer, and probably, I don't know if I'd get nicked to it. The white guy, probably not. Although the police, if he was more aggressive looking than me, they'd probably go for me. I think that's a sort of muppet that the police are recruiting nowadays. Cowards, bullies. So who knows the way that would play out. But it's just the what about this? There's a couple of accounts on that X. All white crime. As if to say, oh, we know that we've got a bunch of shitbags. Of course we have, every country has. But it looks like we haven't got enough. We haven't got enough rapists of our own that were born here. We haven't got enough criminals. We haven't got enough torturers. We haven't got enough people traffickers. What we've got to do, we haven't got enough drug dealers. We haven't got enough pimps. So what we've got to do, we've got to import even more. Oh, what an argument. It's ridiculous. It's just there to divide. It's just there to wind up Brits of all colours and divide. Dark energy. That's why it's being done. And if you don't like vulnerable young girls being raped and tortured, and I mean really tortured, if you don't like that, you're a Nazi? You might not have gassed anyone. I think there's more chance of some of them Palestinian supporters on a Saturday in London gassing Jews than someone that just doesn't like children being raped. And they throw that at you. You're a Nazi. They're the Nazis. They're the fascists. They're the Marxists. I fought against skin colour being a thing all my life. And I'm a Nazi because I don't like kids being raped. Well, if that's true, then I'm a Nazi because I can't condone kids being tortured and raped by anyone. And I don't care what a prophet has said or what a God has passed down. I don't care what the religion is. I don't care what someone's political view is. If you stand there and you put an opposing whataboutism view on kiddie rape, then you are a sick fuck. It's as simple as that. If you don't want to investigate it, you're a sick fuck and complicit. As simple as that. I don't care where you are in the chain. It's sick. It's dark. It's divisive. I just don't understand this world. I really don't. People, whataboutism on vulnerable girls being raped, on women being raped. I don't care if it's a white guy that does it or a Pakistani Muslim. It just needs investigating. It needs sorting out, and these demons need taking off the street. Don't care about community cohesion. I don't care about. I just care about the victim. What's wrong with people? There's not a government rape gang inquiry. It's down to Starmer. It's down to Boris Johnson. It's down to all the governments that have been in power. Oh, this has been going on, and they've known about it. So yes, the actual criminals that have organised it need justice, but so do the people that have allowed it. Criminals in power, and people keep voting for it. People should be united in fighting these criminals in government. They're pricing you out of life. Food prices, car prices, rent prices, mortgage prices. There's a certain portion of society getting very rich while most of society gets poorer. And everything's down to the government. If you're a lefty, you know, at the end of the day, the wars that the government have participated in, instigated, normally regime change for economic reasons, they're the people that have caused the refugees. Now, they might have left the women and children at home to fight, but that's the reason that they're here. The government have made it too easy for people to enter the country, for the right-wingers. That's the reason they're here. The government are criminals. Even the war in Ukraine is a big brown envelope exercise. Lots of people getting a lot richer. The only people losing out are the Ukrainian people who are dead, the Russian people who are dead, and taxpayers all over Europe. It's down to the government. Simple as that. Bad decisions in government, otherwise there'd be more money. Your taxes would be used better. They want you riled up. They want to see what your breaking point is. Dark energy. Starmer's the best Prime Minister we've ever had. They have to be bots. They can't be human beings with functional brains. They haven't been born, they've been grown in vegetable patches. The bloke's a compulsive liar. Best Prime Minister we've had in ages. There can't be anyone out there that actually thinks that. Even those around him want him out. Don't know why, he's doing a good job for them. Just not for the British people. Perhaps they just want their share of the brown envelopes. And now, of course, they want to put their propaganda, BBC, etc., at the forefront on social media. This really is a dystopian, dark, horrible government. I didn't think you could get much worse than the last Tories. And Starmer, I dread to think what the true story of him is. I just get a feeling about people. I just look at him and think deviant, evil, demonic, deviant. That's what I get from him. That's what he gives off to me. It's not just a compulsive lying. It's the way he goes about things. And I think it's all being done. I think it's that battle between darkness and light. People ask me what I think about Palestine and Israel. Because you've got to have a side. You've got to be on one side. You've got to not mind kids and families being killed on one side, but be really outraged that kids, babies and families are killed on the other side. Life means nothing on one side, but everything on the other. See, I don't see life like that. I see the Israel government and those that fund them as evil, satanic, dark. And I see Hamas and the people who fund them, who are probably the same people who fund the Israeli government, as satanic and evil. And I just think it's a shame that babies, families are dying full stop. Israel, the government, look at Nakba Day. Well, Nakba. That was, to me, a genocide. And out of it sprouted Hamas and those that went before and those that will go after. The ordinary people in the street, do they support Hamas? I don't know. Maybe they do if their families were part of Nakba. I don't know. But yeah, divide and conquer. The only people that lose out are the normal people in the street. Both sides, to me, both the Israeli and the Palestinian leaders, disgust me. Satanic. So there's my thoughts. There's my thoughts on the Israel-Palestinian war. There to provide plenty of dark energy and division. How sick in the head have you got to be to ignore death of one set of children, celebrate it in some cases, but cry tears for other kids that have been killed by the baddies in your head? Best thing that can happen really is a comet, isn't it? And hopefully next time the human brain will develop to such a extent that all human life means something. Let me know what you think. I don't know what to make of it all. It just seems to me that divide and conquer seems to be their aim. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts and speak to you soon. Bye for now.
What have you got there, sir? It is my duty to conquer new land. Okay, sir, just checking. You're free to proceed.
Police! Get down on the ground! We're arresting you under the Terrorism Act for posting online. You wrote, "Come on, England!"